So the law of 250, a very, very important law. If you break it, you could really lose a lot of credibility, lose your reputation, and this will impact you in your social circles and ultimately your business. Now, where does the law of 250 come from? Well, it actually comes from a guy called Girard. Now, Girard was an amazing guy who wrote a book called the best car salesman on the planet, or something like that. Anyway, he is in the Guinness Book of World Records for having sold the most cars. Actually, I think somebody has recently overtaken him, but also having sold the most trucks as well. So that's his claim to fame. And he wasn't always like that. In fact, Girard was not very good at anything, but he wanted to, for whatever reason, sell cars, learn to sell cars. And when he first started, he was absolutely terrible. So that was his background. Now, by chance, totally by chance, he was at a funeral, and he saw that the minister had printed 250 funeral programs. And he noticed that actually the same thing happened at weddings, where he was, that the ministers normally printed 250 programs for funerals and weddings. And so he asked them, why is it that they would, how did they know it wasn't like 300 or 400 or 100 programs that they should print? And what he found out was that most people know roughly 250 people on average in their lives. So know them enough that 250 would actually attend their funeral, or 250 would attend their wedding. These are people you know well. So what he realized, and this was an amazing thing, a really amazing thing, he realized that if he upset one person, then 250 people would hear about it. So if he did a bad job selling a car, then 250 people would hear about it. But it went further than that. If he treated people badly in his life or around his life, then 250 people would hear about it. And that's why, you just can't afford to do crazy things. Like, some of you know that I've spent the last 2 or 3 years working with people who sell from stage. And I have to say that I don't think many of those people are very reputable. Some of them have gone on to hurt a lot of people. And as a result of that, they've created a lot of haters in their life, because every person you know or you've upset will tell 250 other people. Like some people say, "Oh, Ben, I saw you on stage with XYZ," and I'll say, "Well, it was a great time, but I don't think you should buy anything from that person." Some of these people even have other people actively attacking them online. Now, let's take this a little bit further, because today with social media, we don't know just 250 people. Like, for example, a lot of the people who are connected to me, they're in the thousands, really. So if you upset one of those people, that is 1,000 potential people, or several thousand people, that you will upset. Now, social media is even worse than that, because if one of my friends see that I've said, I wouldn't particularly buy from that person because they did this and this and this, and they repeat that to all their friends, now you've magnified that 250 or that 1,000 by several thousand. I say the reason I'm talking about this particular principle today is because someone told me that they hadn't paid somebody's bill. And the bill was only, I don't know, £50 or £100. But actually, it was a lot of people who they hadn't paid. Now, one of them is actually quite a well-connected person. That person is so well connected, and he was upset. In fact, actually, it wasn't him that got caught, it was his friend. And of course, he told everybody. You just wherever possible, do not want to upset other people. Obviously, you can't always, protect yourself and reputation. Some people are just really horrible, and you have to respond. You really do. Like, for example, walking out and or if someone has given you a really bad service, it's very difficult to pay them, especially if they were ripping you off. But where possible, I would pay that. There are times where people have given me terrible service, and I've still paid them because the amount was relatively small. If it was very large, like 1,000, like a million, then obviously I'd fight that in court. If it's like 30, 40 pounds, I'm thinking, I will probably never go and do business with that person again, and I'll tell my friends, but I'll pay them the money so that I don't get a bad reputation from them spreading crap about me. The other thing is, you don't really know who you're upsetting. Another person I know from an organization, actually the speaker went on to hate on other people, and his followers started hating on those people as well. Now, that might be fine because they feel that they're being loyal and supporting them without finding what the problem was, but everyone was looking at their posts. So guess what? If someone had written something bad about you, and you are a nice person, you're a good person, believe me, other people are watching that person. And as a result of them kind of writing crap about other people just to support this person, they have lost a lot of credibility. People may say hello politely to them and say, hi, how are you? And all that kind of stuff, but they will never do business with those people. They will never actually help them. A lot of people, for example, I've done several TED Talks. They're all wanting me to help them get TED Talks. Now, I happen to know what they've posted about certain people. I will smile at them and say, yeah, it's difficult. I had a lot of help, but I wouldn't actually give them the names of people who could really help them, purely because they've gone online and they've written terrible stuff about other people who, some of them, they don't even know that well. Isn't that interesting? Now, conversely, if you do a great job for someone, they will tell people about what you've done. If you've been exceptional in some way, we call this giving extra value. Some people call it the wow factor. But if you impress them so much, they will tell 250 other people of their friends. If, for example, some of you know I'm in property, some of you know I'm in content, some of you know I love to dance, or I'm interested in film. They will tell their friends about me and what I'm interested in. Or they might say, listen, you could earn a good rate of interest if you invest your spare money with Ben Chai and his team, because they've had a great, if you like, experience with me. So please, guys, don't ever break this law of 250. It's a very, very important law. It can really rocket a business or your success or your connections wherever you are, or it could totally damage you. Especially if you don't know the people that you could potentially, if you've been horrible to them, damaging. So one of the people I know who somebody has been very disrespectful to, he's kind of a really innocuous person, but all his friends are multi-millionaires, and he gets people a lot of business. But because he doesn't really say, hey, I'm well connected, this guy's just a very, very humble person. Some people have took this as made it an excuse to be disrespectful to that person. All right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this broadcast today. The law of 250. Please always remember that, because it will help you a long, long way. This is Ben Chai, the Doctor Who of Business. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in, and please do share this broadcast if you think it'll be useful. Write your comments below if you've got any questions, or share some of the stories you've got about the law of 250 and how it may have affected you negatively or positively. This is Ben Chai, the Doctor of Business, thanking you all for listening in.